are off. Flying through the hallway like a disco moth. Hitching to the couch, then I loop through the fan. My tiny whoops grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cab, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remote's a gate, the lamps a dive. I'm flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. We fly that flow, grab that gap. No time to nap, no time to nap. Hit that roll, funk and control, bounce that wall, we fly it all, we fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all. Can't stop at all. Can't stop at all.
Greetings. My name's Aaron. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. We're going to be taking a look at the CrazyG473 build, which is 16.8 grams. And it's got two noisy motors on it. I'm going to show you how to figure that out. And we're going to try to bell swap these VCI motors. This is a direct solder build, which is one of the reasons it's so light. The good news is just now I was actually able to pull a C-clip and the little washer off of one of the extra little VCI 0702s that I've got. So we should be able to do it. We should be able to bell swap this, which is great. Otherwise, we would need to take this all the way apart to get good access to the solder pads and then desolder two of the motors. I'm kind of spoiling the surprise, but it's not much of a surprise. We need to desolder two of the motors and resolder on two fresh motors. And so, yeah, we're going to go all through that. I'm going to show you how to check the health of your motors and your props and just your tiny whoop in general. And then we're going to get it fixed up. I'll show you a couple of black box logs. We'll go through the whole kind of deal. Sound good? This is, of course, a Q&A live stream, as they all are. Fill up the chat with any questions you've got, and we'll talk through them. Teddy is outside barking like a bad. Maggie's finally home. She's been gone since Thursday on another writing retreat. And so, yeah, things are back to normal, which is nice. You were just watching a little bit of flying from the 2S 0802 powered, it's basically like a Mobula 7 ELRS 1S converted over to 2S. That was back when it had the RunCam Nano camera. Nowadays, it's got the Caddx Ant camera, and this is actually for sale. Mobula 7 V3 frame, the little motor risers and the longer motor screws, Tiny Whoop 0802 19,000 kV motors, motor limited down to, I believe, 90%. Old school Mobula 6 upside down ball sack canopy, one of my custom blue 46mm ORT micro V antennas, like I said, Caddx Ant, X12, and BT 3.0 nestled beautifully in the back of this Mobula 703 frame. So slick. You're going to run this thing on the... I don't have any within arm's reach, but... yes, I do. You're going to run this on the the Tiny Whoop BT 3.0 300 mAh 2S batteries, and you'll get about 3 minutes of runtime. Depends on how fast you're charging around your yard. You can fly it inside, but don't. It's got too much power, and it's a little too heavy. 65mm 1S builds are what you want inside the house so that you don't destroy everything that you and or everyone else that you live with owns. So yeah, that's for sale. If you're interested, message me, and we'll figure it out. I don't even know how much, but it'll be whatever the price of the different parts are that I just listed out, plus a little bit extra for the time and effort. Yeah, CiottiFPV.com has all my contact info. Discord and Instagram are your best bet. Email does also work. You can join my Patreon over there. That's the best way that you can support this. It's tough to do FPV as a full-time thing and, devote 6 to 8 to 10 hours a day to answering questions and building stuff, testing stuff to bring you all the good info that I do. What else? There's a bunch of affiliate links over there. Try to use someone's affiliate links whenever you order things online. Pretty much all websites have an affiliate program. Support the people that make the stuff that you can watch for free on YouTube by just clicking. Couldn't be easier. There's an Etsy store with lots of fun stuff. The 0.99mm and 1.47mm drill bits are on their way back in. I got a huge restock of the pin vices. They look a little bit different now, but they accomplish the exact same thing. I'll update the picture at some point here. But yeah, lots of good stuff back. Lots of good stuff over on the Etsy store. A bunch of new stuff on there as well. There's a Teespring shop with some fun stuff that you can support me by buying and showing some love. Teddy's running around. What are you doing, buddy? Come here. He's like, no, I got my toy, and I'm out. In the chat, Batted Drones is first. Sporny, Uriel, Level Up, Uke, Whoop Fox, Volusia, Sporny again, Frank Nicholas, Daniel, Burlack. Oh, Stream Elements is here. Welcome, Stream Elements. Uriel, Break Faded, Denzel the Terrible, Phil Bradley, Uke again. What's up, people? If you want to talk directly to me, type at CiottiFPV. Batted Drone says, spent the weekends. I also took your advice and started watching Mighty Car Mods. Now I'm shopping for coilovers for the Mazda 6, and the wife has hidden my wallet. Oh man, if you want to make some bad Mazda 6 decisions, check out one of my other favorite car/motorsport channels, Gears and Gasoline. I'm going to give you a link here. Gears and Gasoline, I've been watching these guys forever. They're awesome. They're up in Virginia. They just did a Mazda Speed 6 build. They probably have a playlist for it. Let's see real quick. Popular videos, road trips, project builds. Where are your playlists, guys? Here we go. Yeah, here's the playlist. My first car, my first tires. Felony. What? What is that? Get the hell out of here. What is that? No, idiots.
When I was 19, I bought my first...
Is this the link to the playlist? Yeah. 10 years ago, I went to jail in this car. Now I have to fix it up. Here comes the link. Yeah, they did a Mazda Speed 6 build. They'll explain it in there. It's absolutely hysterical. Yeah, Gears and Gasoline is one of my other big favorites. I've been watching those guys since like the early days when they were building their ZX3 Escort. Back when I was like super into Fords, and the Escort was like a very little known platform that was pretty decent. And they've come a long way since then. It's a great channel. Two great guys. Ben Lin, the guy that you just saw. One of my favorite things about him is he's on board with the with my tirade against saying the word "send it." I've never laughed so hard in my life that in one of his videos, like in the course of a sentence, he said "send it," and then he stopped himself as soon as he said it. He goes, "Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. Oh God, I'm the worst." I was like, "Oh shit, I've never felt so seen in my life." But yeah, they're awesome guys that do some awesome projects, and they've gotten into. It's funny when I first started watching them, they weren't really into track days or time attack or anything like that. And in the time that I've been watching them, they've started like to get into that world, and they've done pretty well. They did really well in time attack, and now they're actually getting into wheel-to-wheel racing with GLTC, Grid Life Touring Car, which has been super fun to watch. So yeah, just a couple of really good guys doing really cool motorsport projects. Uriel says, "Are those the new ones and they came like that?" When you say those, what's those, Uriel? If you're referring to these VCI 0702s, when I built this CrazyG473, since it was direct soldered, Nyafu had just sent me a set of these VCI 0702 30,000s with the bushings that had the connectors removed. So I just direct soldered them on. It was absolutely perfect. And then, as you'll see in a little bit, two of the bells are a little bit banged up. The motor shafts are a little bent, and so like a week later, I received a box from Uriel with a whole bunch of stuff, and in there was two sets of the 0702 purple bushing 30,000s. And so I used one set of these on, what was it, Friday's live stream, to rebuild the well, no, actually I had already rebuilt the Ultimate Freestyle Whoop. I swapped the motors over to compare the green VCIs to the purple ones. We saw very little difference there. Also compared them to the Moon Travelers. And in that live stream I said, hey, I'm going to leave this set up like this with these motors on the plugs so that we can do a plug versus no plug comparison to this build. Well, that comparison wouldn't really be fair right now because all four of the motors on here are fresh on the plugs. Two of the motors on here have bent motor shafts. And so today we're going to fix this CrazyG473 build up so that tomorrow night we can do a motor plug versus no plug versus direct solder comparison. I am going to switch the canopy over on this so that it more closely matches this canopy. And so, yeah. It'll also be a 2G4 versus CrazyG473 comparison, but, like, if the AIO works, there's really no difference, right? They're both 5 amp, so it's not... Yes, the AIOs are different on the two of them, but it doesn't... Yeah, there's nothing about these AIOs that's going to make the difference. The difference is going to be plugs versus direct soldered. And so, yeah, that'll be pretty cool. But we got to get this thing healthy first, and so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to establish the fact that you've got bent motor shafts. We're going to talk about that kind of process. And then, yeah, I'm going to bell swap this. But bell swapping is going to be, in theory, easier. We'll see. We'll see how getting the C-clip back on is, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Happy Model Motors use a nice, great big C-clip that's pretty easy to get on and off without firing it across the room. A lot of other motors use absurdly small C-clips. This is the smallest C-clip I've ever seen. So even though I managed to get one of them off, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get another one off. I also don't know if I'm going to be able to get these C-clips back on. So there's a chance that I've ruined a motor here by removing the C-clip, because there's a chance I won't be able to get this C-clip back on. We're going to do one motor at a time so that I don't ruin two motors. So we'll try to bell swap the one. If I can get the C-clip back on, then we'll do the other. But we're going to do some diagnosis before then, because that's super valuable in kind of figuring this out, because tiny whoops get abused, and I can't tell you how many people will come to me with, like, you know, hey, my tune is a mess. I can't push the tune past stock. I'm having to pull it down below 1.0 on the sliders. And then I show them a very simple trick, and they're like, oh, yeah, there's lots of vibrations. What's that mean? Well, it means that the motor shafts are bent. The little 1mm motor shafts on these tiny whoop motors are not strong enough, and so they get bent pretty easily, like way easier than most people are used to. You know, we're used to like 3-inch and 5-inch rigs where we can beat them up pretty good before the motors go to hell. Tiny whoops, like, if you have a really hard crash that hits just wrong, that can take like a brand new motor to a motor that needs to be replaced. Not all the time, but yeah, they're definitely more fragile than what a lot of us are used to from flying bigger stuff with titanium motor shafts. FPV says, I got the B cart up and running again, completely swept the house, gonna fly a bit, then slide it around for a bit. Old saggy PH 2.0 got me 12 minutes of runtime last night. Oh my god, that's so funny. That's really funny. Like, you know, stuff that flies has to push against air that, like, just wants to get out of the way, and it has to push against that air the entire time that it's flying. An old saggy PH 2.0 battery would probably only last for like a minute or two on even like a low powered tiny whoop, right? Whereas on something that doesn't have to hold itself up in the air the whole time, right? It just can sit on the ground and just push itself forward. 12 minutes of runtime is madness. YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. Phil Bradley says, ever watch Top Dead Center or Auto Alex? Very much so. Yeah, those are my two other... We've now gone through pretty much all four of my favorite. I guess there's more than that. There's also Phil Morrison from Driftworks. There's a lot. I've been into cars and motorsport for over 20 years, probably approaching 25 years. I've only been into FPV for 10, a little over 10. So yeah, there aren't many motorsport. Eric Coutil's channel as well is a massive favorite of mine. Yeah, Top Dead Center, they're one of my favorites right now. Auto Alex is great, but Top Dead Center, Edwin and Will they're just hysterical. Their podcast at the moment is my favorite thing to fall asleep to. They've been doing the podcast for a little over a year. They do one a week. And I've been listening to the podcast for the last like 3 or 4 months. And I just decided to go all the way back to episode 1. And I think I'm on episode 11. They're just two really good guys that are really funny. And know like a lot. Like they're super, super, super car nerds, which is what I am as well. And so, you know, listening to Edwin get like really in the weeds about like a specific Renault Clio Williams, you know, is just like right up my alley. And I love that like they're super nerdy about the EUDM cars, EUDM being European domestic market, like JDM is Japanese domestic market, USDM is United States domestic market. It's cool to hear them go nuts on European stuff because that's harder information to get from people that are like really, really knowledgeable. So, but yeah, they're you can just tell that they're awesome guys, and they're really, really funny guys too. Denzel the Terrible says the only time send it is acceptable is in reference to mailing something. Indeed, agreed. I don't even say it there though because the youth has ruined it. Denzel the Terrible says I just bought oh god, I'm not gonna say that out loud. That makes me feel sick to my stomach just reading it. Ooh. Yuke says 12 minutes of runtime has drastically shortened the amount of trips these little brush motors will make. I think they're only rated for 5 to 6 hours. That's true. Yeah, the brushed motor, the what are they called? Commutator brushes, I believe. They wear out pretty quickly. Uriel says one set was €30 and the other 60. Exactly the same product, but maybe class difference. I notice with the building bricks Lego, what you pay is what you get. One set. Which you talking about these 0702 30,000s? There's 2 sets in here. They're identical. I think the seller that was selling them for 60 might have gotten you. That's frustrating. But yeah, they're identical. They're both proper BCI. All right. So let's get into it, yo. I'm caught up on the chat. Let's dive into it. So CrazyG473. This is Happy Model's new 5 amp AIO to replace the Crazy B. I forget what it was called. It was the AIO that came in the Mobile 6 2024. They had the version 1. Then they had the version 2, and now this is kind of the version 3. It is direct solder only on the motors, which I don't love, but, you know, some people do. I've got it paired up with a really lightweight Bri-Brain mount that will break at some point here. CO3 camera, ultra lightweight antenna, VCI 0702 bushing, 30,000 kV motors, HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 props, and Cockroach 65 V3 frame. 16.8 grams all up weight, flies great. The CrazyG473 AIO did take a little bit of persistence. It has black box, which is amazing, but with this and the X14, you have to update them to the brand new version of Betaflight 2025.2. something. There's only one current generation of Betaflight with that 2025 something designation. When I updated it to that brand new version of Betaflight to get the black box working, the VTX table stops working. I don't think there is a VTX table in there, or the one that's in there doesn't work right. And so at that point, what I had to do was Google CrazyG473, go to the Happy Model product page, and do a little bit of reading. You're not gonna have to read because I'm gonna tell you what to do. If you scroll down here, There's red text. The second bit of red text says latest Betaflight firmware 2025.12.1. There you go. Has fixed the black box issue. Awesome. So you're going to do that. You're going to use the online Betaflight configurator to flash. That's the only way you can flash that brand new firmware. And then your VTX is not going to work right. And so you're going to have to scroll down here. And there is a default factory dump file for Betaflight 4.6.0. That doesn't matter. All we need to get out of there is the VTX table. So you don't want this firmware download. You don't want the 4.6.0 firmware. You just want the dump file, which has all the CLI stuff. So you're going to click through here, and here it is. Here's the full dump file. So you're just going to scroll down and look for VTX at the beginning. So we've got like DMA, we've got feature, we've got serial, servo, beeper, LED. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And here it is. Hashtag VTX table. All you got to do is highlight and copy this. This is your VTX table here. So highlight it like that, Control or Command C, and then plug your quad in, go to the CLI, and just paste that. Hit enter. That's going to dump this proper VTX table in there. Type save, and you're good to go. That's it. I guess I'll put this in the description of this live stream real quick. Hold on. Let me do that for anybody. And I'm going to put the word save in there as well. So if I come in here, edit, I'm going to do CrazyG473 VTX Table. There we go. And save. Cool. So there you go. If you get the CrazyG473, that'll save you from having to go to their website. Let me close out of this YouTube window so that it doesn't start memory leaking all over the place and ruin the computer. All right. So there you go. Not a big deal. Oh, farts. I accidentally hit the button. Not a big deal to do that. A little bit annoying, admittedly, but yeah, we've done... Look, FPV, even though it's gotten way better, it is still a very much DIY thing. And so you gotta know how to do that kind of stuff. When you have something that ain't working right, one of the best things you can do is find the product page and read the product page. There's all kinds of good info on there. They might have the actual like solution to the problem that you're having right there in front of you because they sell a lot of these. If I had done that, I might not have bricked this Betaflight AIO. I think it's bricked. I still haven't heard back from Betaflight, but yeah, I didn't read the product page that talked about ESC version 19.2. The product page didn't say, like, hey, don't put it onto BlueJ 0.21. And so I still may have done that, but maybe not. And so, yeah, read the product pages. If you're having problems with something, search the name of it and find the product page and do a little bit of reading before you go bananas. Screwing around with stuff that could mess it all up. Elias says, what camera is your favorite one for tiny whoops? I'm looking at the Caddx Ant Light. Is it good? I kind of don't like the extreme color on the CO3. I do not like the Caddx Ant Light. It is the slowest going from dark to light or light to dark. It's also kind of like big and kind of heavy, so it's hard to fit in stuff in canopies. And so, yeah, I don't love it. I don't hate it. Like, there are a lot of other cameras worse than it. But yeah, it's certainly not my favorites. I love the CO3. The CO3 is roundly regarded as like the best of the tiny whoop cameras. The Runcam Nano is one of my favorites as well. Mainly because it's the Nano 3, because it's so lightweight and it fits in the old school Mobula 6 ball sack canopy. The Runcam Nano 7, which used to be the FXT camera that came in the Mobula 6 2020 4. That one's also really good. Those are 3 of my favorites. The Newbie Drone BI is good as well. The Tiny Whoop Pinch, the Weebleed Bleed Eye, these are all really good. But yeah, for me, like Desert Island Tiny Whoop camera, it's going to be the CO3 for sure. I've done 2 live streams with camera testing, 8 different Tiny Whoop cameras per stream. The CO3, everybody is like, oh yeah, that's the best one for sure. Like it's unquestionably the best when I do those tests. So yeah, that is it is my current favorite. It's what's in this CrazyG473 that we're gonna fly in a little bit. Yuke says, did you see that ELRS 4.0 is out? I did indeed. You plan on updating anything? I do not. I think I'm gonna stick it out for a while. I have whoops. I don't think we'll be able to update. Yeah, there's really nothing in ELRS 4.0 that's like groundbreaking. There's a couple of little like quality of life things that are kind of slick, but like no real reason to upgrade. I forget what the one thing is. Oh God, it remembers the. Oh, it remembers Gemini versus not Gemini, which doesn't apply to like anybody. And it doesn't even apply to me. Like, if you have a bunch of quads that are on Gemini, and then you have a bunch of regular old ELRS stuff, you have to switch back and forth from the Gemini baud rate to like 250 hertz or 500 hertz, whatever. The new version of ELRS will automatically do that for you. Well, I've actually got 2 different modules, and I fly 2 different transmitters. I have 2 QX7s. I have this Naminmo module, non-Gemini module that lives in here that's on 250 hertz, and then my main QX7S in the carbon fiber color has the Nomad module in that, which is set to Nomad mode. So there is. I'm not spending any time updating because. Yeah, there's just nothing like groundbreaking, and you shouldn't. Like, don't upgrade unless there's a reason to, right? You're just creating a whole bunch of work for yourself. At some point, there'll be a reason to, and then you'll have to upgrade again, right? The same goes for Betaflight. If you're on like Betaflight 4.2 or 4.3, in most cases, there's nothing better about 4.4, 4.5, 2025.12. 5, I forget what it is, 1, 2, 5. Yeah, don't just update for the sake of updating it. You're just wasting time. Eventually there'll be a reason to update, and then you update. Yeah, just my opinion. But if you get a bind and fly, for the love of God, do not update it. You're gonna wipe a bunch of stuff that's on there. You might brick the damn thing. You probably won't, but like. Just don't. You're paying for a bind and fly. When it arrives, bind it, fly it. Uriel says, Miata is the same as MX-5. Thought so, wasn't to be sure. In America, it's called the Miata. In Europe, it's called the MX-5. In Asia, it is called the Unos Roadster. All the same thing. Well, subtle differences. Japan got a slightly better intake manifold. Europe got, I forget. There was one subtle change. It's different in each model year. There's 4 different generations. First gen NA, second gen NB, third gen NC, fourth current gen ND. My generation, second generation NB. The JDM intake manifold is a little bit better. But yeah, super similar. Zabluga says, what's up? And I'm caught up. All right, cool. Let's get into it. So, CrazyG473, once I got this thing up in the air and I started doing some black box logs to try to teach myself black box, I noticed that on the pitch axis, there's more noise than there should be. how much noise is too much noise, you might ask? I'll show you. So when I did the very first log, so this is Mark Spatz's UAV Tech workspace. The last option here, noise plots, is one of the really nice ones to use. So you're going to select that, and then you're going to come up here to overlay, view, hide, analyzer display. You're going to click that to view it. That's going to put it here. In the top right corner, we can zoom in on it. We can make, all right, so hold on. So first and foremost, on the roll axis, this top option is gyro scaled. This is looking at the raw gyro data, no filtering added in. So we're going to click here to look at roll, and then we're going to go one down into pitch, and we're going to click here to look at pitch. And you're going to notice that pitch is a bunch noisier. Let's go back to roll just for a second, though. This is pretty clean. There's a couple little peaks here, but this is not bad at all. There's a little slider bar here. If you move this slider up, you can make this look terrible. This is the zoom slider. When you first go into the noise plot, the zoom slider is always right here. So this is the default amount of zoom. Why that's important is because if you get a black box log and you open it up in here at that normal zoom level and it looks pretty flat like this, you're in pretty good shape. This is totally acceptable. But on the pitch axis, so the roll axis is doing fine. The pitch axis here, this is a bit much. It's not that bad. It's not getting up into the red yet. It's starting to get up towards the red, but this is not that bad. I can still get the PID tune to a place where it's in pretty good shape on this, but this can definitely be improved. Like, if you're willing to spend a little bit of time, like if you're just desperate to go fly this. This will be fine. You're not going to be able to get a rockin' tune on it, but this is totally flyable here. If we click over to yaw, the yaw is usually going to be pretty flat. The yaw axis doesn't really have much authority to have the PID loop being a part of the problem, but yeah. So again, what we're looking at here is raw gyro data. This is exactly what is happening on the quad. And so what we're seeing is that on the roll axis, there's not a lot of vibrations, but on the pitch axis, there is significant vibrations going on. And so the first thing to check is the mechanical system. Always blame the mechanical system first. The mechanical system is usually the problem. If you want to look at the difference between, well, if you want to see how good of a job your filtering is doing, then what you do is, instead of clicking the top option here, which I'm using an old version of Black Box here, it shouldn't say state, it should say unfiltered or gyro scaled. The second option, this is correct, gyro roll. This is after the filters have filtered. And so if we click on the top option, the unfiltered option here for roll, and then we click on the filtered, we see that it quiets down. This is awesome. Roll wasn't an issue though. So if we do that same thing on pitch, we look at unfiltered raw gyro data, and then we click one below it for the post-filtered data. What this is telling us is that our filters are doing a really good job. After the filters are filtering out almost all of that vibration on the pitch. And what that means is that the PID loop is not making the situation worse. If we'd done that and it didn't drastically chop down the amount of vibrations, it would mean that the filtering is not doing a good enough job. And if the filtering is not filtering out the vibrations, the PID loop is going to try to react to those vibrations and fix them. And that's not good, because now you've got like, let's say, a propeller or a motor that's shaking the quad, And then the PID loop is going, oh my God, the PID loop is fast enough to see each one of those vibrations. And now the PID loop is going to try to fix it. So you've got a propeller that's doing this, but then the PID loop is trying to push back, push back, push back, push back. It's never going to be able to do that, right? There is a physical vibration that it's not going to go away. And so it's not going to work, which we'll see. We will not see those peaks and valleys dump down like that. But also, it's going to heat the motors up, right? There's a physical vibration that's not going anywhere. And then the motors are trying to push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. And so you're wasting battery, you're wasting motor heat. It's kind of all bad. In this case, because we saw this amplitude, by the way, the vertical is the amplitude. So the higher this goes, the more vibration that there is. Left to right here is the frequency of the vibration. Off to the right is higher frequency. Off to the left is lower frequency. And so our filtering is taking care of all of those vibrations on pitch. So we can just go fly this. It's fine. We're not going to, like I said earlier, we're not going to be able to go bananas with the PID tune because we have these vibrations. But it is totally flyable. The PID loop is not freaking out here. If we look back at roll, here's the filtered roll, and then here's the raw roll. Again, the roll is not an issue. But if we've got some replacement motor bells, we might as well throw them on. So I learned through black box tuning that we've got a little bit too much vibration, and I want to see if I can calm this thing down so that I can get the tune a little bit better. And because I have some more of these motors, to be honest, right? Like, if I didn't have more of these motors, I would probably just leave this alone and fly it because the filtering is taking care of it, and the PID tune is, like, kind of good enough. But let's make it better. So what I then did was flip it into turtle mode, or you can also do this in the motors tab, and spin each motor up individually while you're holding the quad. You want to hold it so that you can feel the vibrations. We realize that we have vibrations from the black box log. We want to try to figure out where those vibrations are. Is it motor 1? Is it motor 2? Is it motor 3? Is it motor 4? An easy first step would actually be to change the propellers out. If you've got a bent blade on a propeller, it'll do this. Absolutely, it'll do this. So, like, first step in any weirdness for me is just switch props. It's super easy, it's super cheap, and if the problem goes away, you save the maximum amount of time. If the problem didn't go away, whatever, you switched props, don't throw the other ones away immediately. Hang on to them for a second. If you see that that doesn't change anything, just put those props into the bag and run the props that are already on it, right? It's like a 60-second fix for a lot of problems, switching propellers. This goes for all of FPV. Like, when you have a problem that could even remotely, or maybe you don't think it could be associated with propellers, just switch the props. It's so cheap and easy and quick to do. If it improves things, it might save you the rest of the troubleshoot, or it'll at least tell you something, right? And so on this rig, I switched the propellers, nothing got better. And so basically when I spun, then I put it into turtle mode, I held it in my hand, and I spun each motor up. When you do that, on your transmitter, you're going to arm it, and then you're going to go into the diagonals, because you only want to spin the bottom left motor, the bottom right motor, the top right motor, the top left motor. And you're going to be very gentle. Don't go full stick. The vibrations are not at full throttle. The vibrations are at cruising throttle. And so be very gentle and just spin the motor up a little bit. You're holding it, and so you're going to feel, when you spin motor 1 up, you're going to feel how hard it's vibrating. Then you're going to spin motor 2 up. Is it vibrating more or less than motor 1? Then you're going to spin motor 3 up. Is it vibrating more or less than motor 2 or motor 1? Spin motor 4 up, right? There's probably going to be at least one motor that's smooth, and that's your baseline. You want all 4 motors, if possible, to be as smooth as the smoothest motor. Cool? And so on this rig, what I noticed is that motors 1 and 2 were vibrating quite a bit. Motors 3 and 4 were really smooth. And what's interesting about that is that on our pitch axis, we don't have a lot of noise. But on our roll axis, we don't have a lot of noise. On our pitch axis, we do have a lot of noise. And we've got motors 1 and 2, which are both on the pitch axis, vibrating pretty hard. And so on the pitch axis, we've got 2 motors that are shaking, and that maybe kind of makes sense in the black box log. Doesn't really matter. I just thought that was something that was kind of interesting. At that point, I've isolated that motors 1 and 2 are vibrating. The props are fine. I switched the propellers, and so we're going to get started on this troubleshoot by pulling the propellers off, since we know that the props didn't fix the problem. The motors are the problem. I'm going to show you how to see if it's it kind of doesn't matter, but I'm going to show you how to see if it's the motor bell. This is just, I mean, at this point, we know that the motor is out of balance. Any out of balanceness on a motor is the motor bell. So, like, I already know that the motor bell needs to get swapped out, or the whole motor. But there is a way that you can specifically test that, which is super easy. And it's just to put your fingernail against the side of the motor shaft. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me just get this other propeller off here. I'm using the Propodial, even though it's a 3-bladed prop, because these are HQ 1.2 by 0.9 props, and the blades are nice and strong. I can't do this with the GemFan 1207 props because the blades get all bent out of shape. So all you got to do is go back into turtle mode and spin each one of these motors really slowly with your fingernail, which is hard plastic. Not plastic, it's keratin, but your fingernail is not, soft like your fingertip. Put your fingernail next to the motor bell, and when you're spinning the motor, you'll feel what's happening right now is that these 2 motor shafts are bent. And so when they spin around, if my fingernail is there, I can feel them hitting into my fingernail. Might as well do it. Take but a second. We'll see which one is worse. Actually, again, this is just like a confirmation. At this point, you know that the motors have to go, or you need to bell swap them. But if you absolutely want to confirm that, here's how to do it. Or if this is something that you could do. This is something that you could do while you're switching the props. This would actually be a really good idea to do this while you're switching the propellers over. Because you have you have all 4 propellers off. You could do this test with all 4 motors to confirm. So I'm in turtle mode. I'm armed. I'm going to take my fingernail, put it right next to the motor bell, and spin it as slowly as possible. You can really hear it. Yeah, can feel that one. These motors won't spin very slow. I feel like they've changed turtle mode a little bit. Oh, that's the wrong motor. Yeah, they've changed turtle mode. You used to be able to spin motors really slow with turtle mode. They seem to have changed it so that you cannot spin the motors quite as slow on the 2025 version, which kind of sucks, but there's an easy fix for that. You're going to hook it up to Betaflight. You're going to go into the motors tab and spin the motors up in there. And I want to show you that real quick. Come on. Get in there. Plug in the little JST plug-in. The CrazyG473 has a JST plug on the bottom instead of the USB plug, which is actually nice. I do prefer this setup, even though it's kind of annoying that you have to keep this little adapter around. The JST is a lot shorter and a lot lighter. All right, so I've got it plugged in to the computer. Of course, I don't have Betaflight opened because that would be... Yuke says, how do you know what ELRS packet rate your quad is set to? Like, how can you check? The quad does not get set to a packet rate. Your transmitter gets set to a packet rate, and then you want to use the right preset on your quad. You want, if your transmitter is set to 500, you want to use the 500 preset. If your transmitter is set to 250 like mine, you want to use the 250 preset. There's no way to check that, but just go into the presets. If you're not sure, just go into the presets and check the right one and hit the button, and it'll, if it wasn't on there, it'll put it on there. It's all kind of like behind the scenes-ish stuff that it's doing. It's just basically adjusting the smoothing. The quad doesn't care about the packet rate. The quad gets the packets, and that's it. It smooths them out, or it doesn't smooth them out. If the quad is on the wrong packet rate, it's not that big of a deal. You'll probably never notice it. So inside of Betaflight, the quad is powered on. It's plugged in via USB. Oh, balls. I'm not going to be able to use this outdated version of Betaflight. I'm going to have to come in here. Because this has the newest version, I'm going to have to come in here and use the web app. That's okay, though. We're going to connect, and we're going to go to motors, and it's right down here. It's these motor sliders. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this motor slider, and then I'm going to hit the up arrow. And if you hit the up arrow a bunch of times, you can get the motor to spin super slow. The motor is spinning 1,000 RPM right now. So it's spinning ultra slow. I'm going to take my fingernail, put it next to the motor shaft, and yeah, I can feel that vibrating quite a bit. And now I'm going to click motor 2. I'm going to hit the up arrow a bunch of times to get motor 2 spinning. Nice and slow. Get motor 1 spinning a little bit faster, actually. Oh my god, yeah, motor 2 is a mess. Motor 1 is not nearly as bad as motor 2. The cable's not long enough. I guess it is. But yeah, I'm just going like this. They're spinning, I'm just going like this. And I can feel that this motor shaft has bent. I'm putting my fingernail like that, and I can feel the motor shaft hitting my fingernail. It shouldn't be doing that. It should be totally smooth. Cool. So now I know that motor 2 is the worst. If I only had one extra motor, I would just fix that one. Motor 1 is not great either. Make sure that you click to turn this off. If you just like disconnect Betaflight, the motors will actually keep spinning. So make sure you click that switch to turn that off. So all of that to say that what we kind of already knew, motors 1 and 2, the motor shafts are bent up. Motor 2 is the worst. Motor 1 is not great, but not nearly as bad. So now we get to decide, do we swap a motor out by desoldering them and taking the whole thing apart? Or do we try to do a bell swap? In this case, we're going to try to do a bell swap so that we don't have to tear the whole thing apart. We're going to do motor 2 first because it's the worst one. So I've already managed to take one of the spare motors and pull the bell off. Basically, on the bottom of the motor... Oh, well, wait. I can show you with this. On the bottom of the motor, there's a C-clip. And so you got to get that C-clip off. On Happy Model motors, it's a little bit smaller than this. But basically what I do is I take these smooth-jawed needle nose pliers, I put one jaw on this side of the motor shaft, and I put the other jaw on the clip, and I go like that, and that's exactly what happens. It pushes it like that, And then what I do is I take the needle nose pliers, I put my thumb here to keep this from shooting away into Never Never Land. I put my thumb there and I just nudge this and it'll pop it off the rest of the way. And then you can pick it up and take it off. On these VCI motors, this C-clip is itty-bitty and it's obscured by the motor shaft. There's an indentation in the motor shaft for the C-clip to sit in. And so what I had to do on this VCI motor is I had to take the little needly bastards and I had to go like this. I put my thumb back here to try to keep it from going anywhere, which is sketchy because if you screw up, you stab your thumb. But I had to go like that, and it was a lot more difficult, but I eventually was able to get it perfect to where, well, you get what I'm saying. There we go. I was able to push it off like that. I don't know how I'm going to get it back on. There's a good chance I won't be able to get this C-clip back on. You'll find out with me. But that's the best way to get these C-clips off that I've found. So the other thing that's super helpful is being able to see what the hell you're doing. So make sure you have a little magnified headset or else you're going to have a bad time. So I'm going to put these back on here because I need to do it again. So I'm going to rotate this around. And I'm going to get this into a place where I can put my thumb there. And then I'm going to take these guys. And I'm going to go for 2. No. Didn't get it on that one. Let's try again. Oh boy, yeah, see, so this is rough. Ooh, I got it. Cool, it just barely popped off. Now I take ultra fine tipped tweezers and just super gentle. You can easily still lose this C-clip. You gotta be real gentle. Cool, C-clip is off. Now there's a little washer down here. And you got to get this washer off because you got to reuse it. The washer is hard to get off, and it's also easy to lose. So again, be super patient here, super gentle. You can do this inside of a plastic sandwich bag. That'll make sure that you don't lose either one of these. But it makes it way harder to do it because you're trying to work through the plastic. But there we go. If you've done this a bunch of times and you're super gentle, you can probably pull that off. We can now see the bearing on the bottom of this guy. And so it's really hard to show you how small these are, but let me try to give you a comparison. Here is a Happy Model C-clip. The black C-clip is a Happy Model C-clip. The silver C-clip is like most other motors C-clips. So like, I guess it doesn't look that much smaller, but it really is here. And if you look at the bottom of the motor, you can see that the C-clip is like obscured. See it under there? The washer is black. The C-clip is silver. And so you can see how like the C-clip is like kind of obscured by the motor shaft. If you compare that to a Happy Model motor, right? It's like night and day. The Happy Model motor is so much easier to get that C-clip on and off of there. That's another one of the reasons that I like the Happy Model motors is they're more serviceable. And like these motors are serviceable, you know, which is nice. Because I'm going to have, like, this stator, this is a perfectly good stator here. I have this stator forever. If I ever need another one, I'm good to go, right? I don't have to burn an entire stator. So, all right. We've got the C-clip off of here. I'm going to put the nerd goggles back on because I want to be able to see what I'm doing. a lot of times there's going to be another washer up on the top of this bell. So pay attention and do this really gently when you remove this, and just look at the top of the bearing. Maybe even like take your sharp tipped tweezers and just rub it across the bearing or the bushing to make sure that there's not an extra washer there. And then you want to look inside of here, and yeah, there it is. The washer is sitting on the inside there. So this bell is blown up. This motor shaft is bent. You might be able to like roll it across the desk and see it. Maybe not though. Sometimes it's just bent a little bit. But this is garbage. Take this washer out though, just in case you lose one of these washers. Take this guy out and hang on to it. So just lift it up, grab it on the side here, gentle, 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 and hang on to this. I'm gonna put it in the little case that the motors were in. And now this motor bell is junk. Get rid of this, or stick it to something. Sometimes I usually do this when the motor shaft slips, but you can like hammer the pin out of here, and then you can use this like a little magnet. Stick it to something metal. Let me see. I'll do that like this. I'll put it in the jaws of these. Wow, that's in there. It's actually a really good sign. I mean, I wasn't hitting it that hard, but they've got this motor shaft very well laser welded to the bell. That's actually great. I'm glad that I did that. I don't think you're gonna have issues with the VCI motor shaft slipping. I can't get that out, and I'm not willing to do any more, so I'm just gonna trash it. So now we've got the good bell off of the new motor. We're gonna check to make sure that it's got that washer in there, which it does. And so now we're just gonna drop it down onto the stator, the perfectly good stator. Cool, there it goes. And so now we're gonna grab that washer that we took off. I got one over here. We have an extra one now, which is great, but I've got this one. I'm gonna real carefully drop this on here. Since I have the nerd goggles on, I can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. Washer's on there. Now we're gonna grab this absurdly small C-clip, or E-clip, as some of you guys like to call it. I don't care. It looks like a letter C more than a letter E, as far as I'm concerned. And so you're not going to be able to put this C-clip on here. You're just going to be able to get it started with these fine-tipped tweezers. So you just want to get it started. Just get it into the little notch of the motor shaft, that little indentation. And again, this is when you can easily lose it, so be gentle. And there we go. Now I've gotten it started. When I say get it started, this is what I mean. Hold on, I need to get this window so that I can see it. When I say get it started, that's what I mean. It's in the little notch, but it's not all the way through. But we have it started. And so now I'm going to put my thumb over the back, over the open side, because that's the way I'm going to be pushing it. And then I'm going to take these smooth-jawed needle nose pliers, and I'm going to try to just mash it the rest of the way on. And now this is typically where you'll lose it. And so one jaw goes on the opposite side of the motor shaft. The other jaw you try to catch on the C-clip, and I actually got it first try. That was not very difficult at all. Very cool. So now, in theory, we've got a fixed motor. We won't know until we actually spin it up, because I have certainly put replacement bells on, and they were from a motor that I'd run, and it's just as bad, if not worse. I think these are pretty fresh motors, though, that Uriel, if not brand new motors that Uriel sent over, so we should be absolutely fine. But what might be cool to do now, what we could do is another black box log with just one motor fixed. Nah, let's do them both. We'll fix them both. That was actually not all that difficult. So take this. Well, let me grab one of these other motors. We'll do this first. I don't think I would be able to do this without the magnified headset. It really does make a difference. These needle nose pliers, these are actually really nice. These are made by Lindstrom in Sweden, and the part number here is 7890. I borrowed these forever from my dad. He has some really nice tools. And so yeah, a good pair of somewhat sharp-tipped, but not like infinitely sharp-tipped needle nose pliers is going to really help. I would not be able to do this job with these needle nose pliers. This is too big. These are kind of essential for doing this, because you got to get in there, like especially with these. I would probably be able to use these for the Happy Model Tiny Whoop Weebleed motors, but certainly not for these. This C-clip is absurdly small in these and the Betaflight motors and the Newbie drone motors and the RCN power motors. This is kind of silly. So again, my thumb is in the way, and I just got it, and it pushed it into my thumb pretty hard. If my thumb was not there, this C-clip absolutely would have gone to Never Never Land. So you got to have something there to catch it, or just do it in a plastic sandwich bag. And so now we're going to try to get this washer. The washer loves to like sit down in this little indentation here, so like a lot of times I got to go digging to get it, to get it popped up a little bit. And then you'll see it loves to like sit inside of the little, like once you pop the washer up a little bit, it goes into the slot in the motor shaft, and then it's super annoying, but just keep futzing with it. Don't get frustrated. When you get frustrated is when you're going to lose this stuff. If you save the washer that's in the top of the motor bell before you throw the bent motor bell away, then if you lose one of these, you're covered, right? So that's why you want to save the C, and you should have an extra C clip as well, right? Because you've just gotten rid of that motor. So pretty quickly you'll have a couple of extra washers and a couple of extra C clips. But the first time you're doing this, you're not going to have that. So be really careful, really gentle here. I'm actually having a hell of a time getting this washer off. I'm having a harder time getting the washer off than the C clip, which is kind of madness. But just keep at it. You'll get it. Come on, you bastard. Take a break for a split second. Come back. I almost had it. Nope. Come on. If nobody's watching, this is super easy. We try a different tactic. Let's try a little X-Acto knife. Because all we're trying to do is like pop it up and over. And get it out of the little indentation in the motor shaft. No, that's not the way. The fine-tipped tweezers are the way. Let me try the other ones I have here. Try these silver ones. Come on. I don't really have a good method for this part. It's just like keep bobbling it back and forth until you eventually get a grip on it and can pull it straight up and out. Ah! Again, on the Happy model, we bleed tiny whoop motors. This is a lot easier because it's not indented down below. It's not like in this little crevice here. Jesus. Bro! Get out of there. Ugh. So close. I'm trying to get under it and grab it. This won't work, but just for the sake of argument. Let's also try this. Let's just try banging it straight down to see if it'll pop off. Ooh, I wonder if I can magnet it off. Let's take a big old 2306 motor bell. See if we can just pull it off like this. I don't even know if it's magnetic, to be honest. Nah, that doesn't seem to work. On the inside, maybe? Nah, that ain't the way. Alright, back to the tweezers. If these were a little bit sharper tipped, I would be alright. But these are a little bit beat up. I need to get a fresh set of these fine-tipped tweezers. Oh, that was so close. God damn it. Wowee. Here's some that Nyafu sent that I hung on to. Ooh, these are the ones. These are in much better shape. Here we go. See if I can just sneak them under the washer. This is riveting live stream content, I'm sure, right here. Anybody that's done this knows exactly what I'm going through right now, though, and they're probably posting it in the comments. On the Happy model motors, this C-clip is flat with the bottom of the stator, so you just grab it. Like there's no bullshit with it. This is a pain in the ass because there's an indentation in the bottom of the stator, but this is also why you don't have to open up the holes on the cockroach frames for these motors, and you do have to open them up for the Happy model motors. So man, I thought I just had it. Jesus, I don't think I've ever had this much trouble. Well, maybe we will just do it with one motor because I can't get this. Let's try this. Let's try. I usually try not to do this, and it usually doesn't work, but you can, if you can get it perfectly centered, you can just pull the bell off. So it looks like it's somewhat centered. A lot of times it catches on the little lip there, but it's worth a shot. Nah, see, it hangs up there. Because it's never quite perfectly centered. It's always off like a little bit. Oh, I had it, you bastard, you. I had a grip on it and everything. Oh, I got it again. I got it. Yeah, there we go. Wow, man, that put up a fucking fight. When you're doing this not on a live stream, just smoke a big doobie. Get yourself a, I don't know if you want to drink. Alcohol might make you shaky, but just, you know, do what you got to do. Calm down and sit there, and it'll still be incredibly frustrating. So this is a good bell. This is a good stator. Hold on to the stator. I think I did motor 2, hopefully. Now we're going to do motor 1. Jesus Christ. Denzel the Terrible says, what about your nut grabber? That's interesting. Let me try. I have to do it one more time, so let me try the nut grabber on this next one. That's a great idea. The nut grabber is my Amazon affiliate link over on CiottiFPV.com. We're going to try that in a second. It's normally for grabbing nuts, but, you know, if it'll grab these things too, that's fine. All right, so we're going to do another one of these C-clips. So I'm going to use my index finger this time, put it here, and just push the opening. Nah, I can't do it with my index finger. I got to do it with my thumb. All right, put it right there. Open jaws here. And push. Nope. Didn't get it. Rotate the C-clip back around. Try again. You're going to kind of start with the jaws closed, and then as you push, you're going to sort of open them up to catch the little ears of the C-clip. Sometimes you can actually hear it go click. That's a scary noise. Nope. There we go. Got it on that one, and it actually stuck to my thumb. Put that down there. And now let's see. Let's see if the nut grabber will work. So the nut grabber just has little jaws like that. I have a feeling they might not be skinny enough to get in there, but let's see. Nah, yeah, they're not. It's not like sharp enough to get in there. The nut grabber's too blunt, yo. It's too blunt. Although I have not, when the washer sits all the way down, the washer will actually sit down, like right now, the washer is sitting down below the indentation in the motor shaft. So I might actually be able to just pull this bell straight off. Let's see. If you don't screw with the washer, sometimes you can just pull the bell right off. Now, see, it's catching. Yeah, no, it already started to shift itself off to the side. All right, so we got to just be patient and try again here. I think these washers might be like some kind of plastic, which is why the magnet method wouldn't work. But like I said, usually I don't have this hard of a time. There we go. See, usually that's about it. Usually it's not too bad. Cool. So we got that off. And now we're going to separate the bell from the stator. I'm going to steal this extra washer out of here. And then I'm going to trash this motor bell. Just pick it up. Get it out. Save it. And now let me actually do that that little test of this motor shaft as well. Since I'm going to throw it away, I might as well see how well it's held on there. I'm going to do it on a harder surface here. I'll be damned. Dude. Great job, VCI. they've got this really well connected between the motor shaft and the bell. Very cool. I like that. But that means I can't make a little fridge magnet out of it, and I gotta just throw it away. Here's my good bell. I'm gonna make sure that the washer is in there, which it is. Make sure that there's not a second washer here on top of the bushing. I forgot to call that out the first time. Drop it in there. The magnets like pull it all the way down, so you don't have to like really seat it in there. We're gonna grab one of our washers. Put that on there. Again, make sure you're doing this with some kind of a head-mounted magnifier so that you can actually see what you're doing. I don't care how good your vision is. A little bit of magnification goes a long, long, long way with working on these itty-bitty little motors. There we go. Push the washer all the way down. That's going to be important to getting the C-clip to catch the indentation. And then put the C-clip. I'll just like put the C-clip on the base, and then I'll close the jaws and just kind of push it around. Any time that you spend with the washer or the C-clip pinched in here is time that if it slides out of the jaws, it'll shoot across the room. So try not to hold the C-clip or the washer for any extra time. Pick it up, put it down, and then close these jaws and just push it around. And so now I've got that C-clip started on the little indentation of the motor. Get these out of here. Take your needle nose, put your thumb over here, and hope for the best. Oh, wow, I almost just lost it. It helps if these needle nose pliers are not magnetized. Unfortunately, mine are. Well, I'm going to have to try to do this with the fine-tipped tweezers because the jaws on those needle nose are not tight enough. I got it just down there enough. I think I can now come in with this and push it the rest of the way. Nope, it popped back out. Because of the way this is indented, I can't get these down in there. Let me try the other side of the pliers. Oh, almost had it. Oh, it's so annoying that these are magnetized. This is the struggle of doing it this way. You could argue that, like, not having to go through all this and just take the entire rig apart and desolder 2 motors and solder 2 other motors on is easier. I don't know. I don't know which is easier. Sometimes this is quick. On the Happy Model motors, this is quick. This is no big deal on the Happy Model motors. There we go. We got it. Just make sure that that C-clip gets all the way in there so it looks round on all sides. And so there we go. I will always go towards this method so that I don't have to unscrew all of these other motors and put all of that wear into the itty-bitty little stator bases. You know, you take these motors on and off enough times and they start to strip out, and then the stator is ruined. That's one of the nice things about keeping a couple of extra stators when you do these, if you just choose to do it this way. So there we go. 2 of, I don't think there's going to be, I've never done a motor bell swap that's been this hard. This is the hardest one I've ever done. It's the way that these stator bases are indented is pretty severe. So that was pretty difficult. I'm actually shocked that I was just able to use the fine-tipped tweezers to push hard enough on that C-clip. But I mean, that just goes to show you how thin the metal is on that C-clip. Now we've got a bunch of these guys. Do yourself a favor. Keep your tiny little plastic baggies that you get with stuff and drop them in there. They should just stick to your finger like that. And now you've got a little kit for the next time you do it, when you will inevitably lose a C-clip or 3. It looks like these VCI motors come with... No, they don't. Sometimes motors will come with an extra C-clip and or washer. I thought I saw one in here. What it actually was is that first little washer that I just like threw in that box like a donkey. So let me not do that. I'll put this first washer with the other ones. And there we go. Hang on to that. You'll need it someday. These motors are all 1mm motor shaft, so these little tiny washers, I could use these on the Happy Model motors. I would not be able to use the Happy Model washers on this particular motor. It would not clear the stator. That actually reminds me, one of these C-clips that I just put away in here is one of the bigger Happy Model C-clips, and I need to get that out of here or else it'll confuse the hell out of me someday. And here it is. There's the big old Happy Model washer. And it just shot off the end of the tweezers, and it's gone forever. Luckily, I have a bunch of those, though. So, makes sense? Did I lose everyone? Did everybody die of boredom? I hope not. Because at some point, you're going to want to do that. So, hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. Because it is legitimately difficult. Like, that's a bit of an accomplishment to be able to do that. Like, the first time you do that successfully, you'll see what I mean. You'll be like, fuck yeah, there's nothing too small for me. Like, it's just, it's absurdly small. It's really just dumb how small that is. Here's a Betaflight motor. Nope, that's the same exact. So, this is the exact same sized C-clip, but the indentation on the bottom of the stator is not as severe. See the difference? VCI really dropped that down in there, and that indent is what's making it harder. On this Betaflight motor, it's a lot flatter, which makes it a lot easier. So, yeah. Some motors are harder than others. These VCIs, these are the hardest ones. I have not had to do this much, though. I've only really had to do a bell swap on a Betaflight motor, Happy Model, Weebleed, Tiny Whoop motors, and now VCI. So RC and Power, I think I've done a newbie drone at some point. They could be just as bad as these VCIs. I wouldn't like not buy these VCI motors because of how indented the stator is. If you want a purple 0702 30,000, just get these. You know, I mean, these motors, sometimes you can't buy individual motors, so like to replace one motor will cost you $40, but then you have 3 extra spares. You know, these motors are only like $10 each. You could make a very strong argument for not doing any of that and just having an extra set of motors. But then you got to take the whole build apart, right? And desolder and all that jazz. You do you, boo-boo. There we go. So now, well, let's put it up in the air and we'll get a black box log so that I can show you how much cleaner, hopefully, the log is going to be. Because like me sitting here and doing it in the motors tab, I like, you can't feel what I'm feeling with the vibrations of this thing. You don't have to do anything at this point. All you did was swap the bells, so the motors are going to spin the same direction and all that stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that jazz. No! No! Get out of there. Get out of there, transmitter. There we go. Okay. Come on, ELRS. You can do it. It's in pit mode until first arm. Low power until first arm, I should say. There we go. As soon as I arm it, we're good. I think one of these propellers is a little bit banged up. Hold on. Oh, nope. I think it's hitting the motor wire. Man, turtle mode really sucks now. Turtle mode used to let me spin these motors slow enough. Now it doesn't. Motor 2 does not feel great. Motor 2 is not super happy. Let's see here, though. Let's just do a black box log and we'll take a look at it. So, to do a black box log, put it on a switch that you can just turn on in the middle of the flight. Turn black box on while you're hovering. When my OSD goes away, that means black box is on. And you're just going to work the throttle up and down. You need to have moments at full throttle and every throttle... Oh, fucker. If you hit something like that, turn black box off and then turn it back on. That log is ruined from when you hit something. And just sweep the throttle up and down. Do a bunch of full throttle stabs like this. Moving the throttle up and down as slowly as you can. It's really easy to do this outside. And then do some cruising. Cruise around at different speeds. And then do some flips and rolls. One in each direction. Left, right, front, back. Yaw left, yaw right. That's a good black box log right there. And then you can turn it off. This is an old 260 mAh lava battery. A-E-O. Teddy has come to protect me. All right, let's take a look at what that log looks like. Should be a little bit better. I don't think it's going to be a lot better. Oh, it's the propeller. Oh, I can see it. The propeller on motor 2 is bent. One of the blades is bent down lower than the other ones. It's this blade. I wonder if I could bend it back straight. Usually I can't. All right, I'll swap that propeller out. But let's take a look at the log because it should be at least a little bit better. So now you've got a log stored on the flight controller. And so we're going to plug in here. Okay. And we're going to go into Betaflight and go to Black Box. And down at the bottom, activate mass storage device mode. And so then it's going to mount on your hard drive. And you're going to highlight a bunch of these files and just do like get info, because some of these files are going to be 8,192 bytes. Those are all garbage. Garbage, and then here's the right one, 5 megabytes. So it's Betaflight 006. Grab that file. And then you need to unlock the file after it's done copying. So we're gonna get info, and then uncheck the locked tab. And now you want to name it to something that means something. Eject this real quick. Unplug and replug to get it out of storage mode. Now you can hook back up to Betaflight, Black Box, erase flash, yes, erase data flash. And now we're going to take this file and name it something that means something, which is going to be CrazyG473-6. It's the 6th log that I've taken over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now 6. And so this should be the cleanest one. Give that a second to finish. So what I can do is I can go to the noisiest one, which was gyro scaled, the unfiltered on pitch, and then just take this new log file and drop it in, and it'll automatically update. And that's a lot better. Still not totally clean, but a lot better. This is still erasing. On pitch, if we go to the filtered, we'll see it really flatten out there. That looks really good. We'll do one more. We're going to switch a prop, and we'll do one more. It's still erasing, though, so it was propeller 2 that's a little bit banged up here. Let me remove it. This is because I used the Propodial instead of the Proptopussy. There's a 3D printed tool on Thingiverse called the Proptopus that's designed for pulling tri-bladed propellers, but it's a little bit difficult to get under the propeller. Usually these HQ props are okay, but in this case, this one I had to really put down on there, and yeah, that prop is definitely bent up. Yeah, so the problem was the problem previously was not the propeller. The problem previously was absolutely the motor shaft. We confirmed that by putting a fingernail next to it. Is this done? This is done now. It erased the flash. So we're gonna unplug it, and we're gonna get a fresh propeller. What is that? A right? Yeah. All right. All right. Fresh, not damaged, bent up propeller. We're gonna take the pin vise with the drill bits from my Etsy store, 0.99 millimeter. We're gonna run it down this propeller so that we don't have to push it too hard onto the motor and ruin it. We're just gonna put it up and down the drill bit a couple times without spinning it. That removes the most material. Just till you feel it kind of loosen up. That should be about right. And then we're going to put this on motor 2, and we're going to fire it back up. Being careful when we push the motor on to only push it by the center hub. Don't push down on the blades. All right, so let's see how this is now with a fresh propeller. Okay. Keep this until we know that we've helped the situation here. I'm going to power cycle this so that ELRS hooks up a little quicker. ELRS is connected. Flip into turtle mode. Arm it. And now let's check motors 1 and 2 again. Motor 1 feels great. I think I might have put a motor shaft on that was bent. Let me hook it up to Betaflight so I can spin these motors a little bit quicker. Turtle mode feels terrible now. The minimum that I can spin turtle mode is still like really fast. You used to be able to check these with in versions of Betaflight pre-2025. Turtle mode works really well for that. This new version of Betaflight, I don't think we can use turtle mode to check the props and the motors anymore, which is a shame. Because that was like such a quick and easy way to check the health of your props and motors. So we're going to come in here, understand the risks. Motors 1. So I'm just going to hold the up arrow. Well, no, I'm going to grab the slider. Doesn't feel great. See, so this is motor 3. It feels really smooth. Motor 4, really smooth. Motor 1... doesn't feel great. Motor 2? Oh god, motor 2 feels awful. What is happening? Is it like hitting on something? What the fuck is going on here? You guys hear that noise? What is it doing? What the fuck? Listen to that. It should not sound like that. It should sound like this. This is motor 3. That's what it should sound like. Here's motor 1. What the hell, dude? What is happening with these two? Let me push down on... I'm glad I saved that propeller because it looks like the propeller's not the problem. Let me push down and pull up on these motors to make sure that like all the washers are seated properly. All right, let's try that again. Motor 1. Nah, man. Oh my god, what the hell, dude? Yeah, this ain't right. I guess the stators are jacked up. I guess the motor shaft and the stators are jacked up. So that's damn. There's a scenario where swapping the whole motor out would have been the right thing to do. I've gotten away with bell swaps for years. But yeah. God damn it. Why can't anything ever be easy? Oh no. I just spent like an hour doing that. Oh my god. Oh, I hate everything. I hate it all. I hate everything. God damn it. The one motor shaft was really bad. The one motor shaft was absolutely bent to hell. For all I know, Uriel ran these motors and they were Uriel, even if they were brand new, just tell me that you already ran and crashed the shit out of the motors, because that'll make me feel better. God damn it, dude. Oh, no! If I had done that with known brand new motors, it might have been different. Well, this is important. All right, this is how I'm going to spin it so that I don't burn this motherfucker to the ground. If you're going to do this and try to do a bell swap, any number of weird things can happen. Which might have been the case here, or maybe I just put motor shafts on that were used and banged up. I don't bells on that were used and banged up. But this is the method that's potentially a little bit cheaper, but it's a little bit sketchier as well because you're taking the motors apart, right? Like there's a little bit of quality control that goes into these motors, I would like to assume, before they go out the door. Maybe not, but we're gonna assume that there's at least a little bit of quality control. So, you know, desoldering these motors and soldering up to fresh motors is probably not going to blow up in your face like this. Taking these little ass things apart, God only knows. A piece of magnetic something could have gotten sucked into the bell. Who knows, right? So if you're going to pull these motors apart, you're taking a little bit of a chance, is what I'm going to say to try to make myself feel a little bit better about what just happened. I'm going to use the Proptopus here and pull these two propellers off and then spin the motor up against my fingernail and see if I can feel any weird vibrations to try to confirm if the motor shaft is bent. All right, so Proptopus arm number 1, Proptopus arm number 2. The Proptopus is cool, but boy, it is hard to get it into the motor. It's hard to get it under the propeller because it's got these little... It's got these little fucking gangly arms. Okay, come on, man. Get in there. I need to get another clone popper. I need to do a tiny whoop order and get another clone popper and not break it this time. Almost there with the Proptopus. Almost there. Just need this one to go under this blade here. Oh, yo, I've been watching The Expanse now for the 3rd time. I convinced Little Boo, Maggie's 15-year-old, to watch it with me. I think she's just watching it because Captain James Holt is cute, but you never know. All right, there we go. Proptopussy is on here. I gotta stop saying that. I don't monetize these streams, but like they're probably not gonna recommend these streams anywhere with me saying that. Come off, propeller. This is the one that I drilled out too. I should have drilled it out a little bit more. There we go. All right, got that propeller off. Look at that gangly guy. Shit sticks, man. Everything I told you is still totally sound. The reason why I take you guys through it step by step by step like that is in case exactly this happens. It's the right way to kind of dive into a troubleshoot, and it doesn't take that much extra time to... Is there a better way to do this? Like, what if I put it up, send it up from the bottom? No, that's not the way. I don't know of a better way of Proptopussing. There we go. Great. Okay, let's hook it into Betaflight one more time. Spin these motors up nice and slow with no propellers on. This will tell us for sure that the props were not the problem. I did switch that one propeller out. When I had the propeller off, I should have probably just done this, but I've never swapped a bell and had this happen. This is new. All right, motors tab, understand the risks, Motor 1. There is something weird going on here. Now, this motor shaft's a little bent. Let's check motor 2. The motor 2, there's something more going on. The stator is messed up, or the magnets are messed up. And like they're so fucking small you can't see anything. What the hell is going on with this? What is happening with this, dude? What are you doing? Loosen up the screws on the bottom of the motor. Where's the goddamn screwdriver? Starting to get annoyed now. Where's the screwdriver? Something ain't right here. Something's... It doesn't feel like the motor shaft is bent. It also doesn't feel like it's perfectly straight, but the amount of vibes and noise and shit is not... there's something else going on here. I think the stator's just jacked up. I think there's just something messed up with the stator. Just loosening these screws real quick. Nah, no change. Yeah, no, something happened. Something either happened when I was doing the bell swap, or these motors got hurt more than what swapping the bell over could fix. So either the stators are messed up, or I did something. I mean, there's not much that you can do, though. Like, you're taking the C-clip off, you're taking the washer out, you're... Right? So I'm not sure what happened here. But hey, this goes to show you that the safer bet is just to swap the whole goddamn motor out. Put a fresh motor on. It either works or it doesn't. You're not in this weird place where you're like, oh, I don't know if I screwed it up or if you know, like... So, yeah. I'm frustrated. I'm not going to take this whole thing apart right now. I'm going to go get something to eat and or drink and come back to it when I don't feel like smashing it with a hammer. It's usually a good idea. I'm really surprised that the black box file was not worse. I don't know. Oh my god. Why is FPV just... How have we all found a thing that is so consistently this annoying? Batted Drone says, poster tack is my go-to to grab small washers and screws. That's a really good idea. We call that, we also call that fun tack. It's the blue squishy stuff. Yuke says, so if I have 2 radios and 2 whoops / B cart, both radios are bound to both flight controllers. Could I just turn one on first, let it connect, then turn the other one on? I actually don't know the answer to that. Try it and let us know. That's a good question. Lewis says, I'm going to Atlanta for a swim meet in a couple weeks. Anything I should try and do? I don't spend much time really like exploring Atlanta. The whole time that I've been living here, like I don't really explore much. Bring some quads and go fly. Fly downtown Atlanta. It's pretty slick. There's a lot of well-known buildings and yeah, just rip. A lot of big buildings to fly here. You'll have a good time. There is a Hattie B's here. They have great chicken and boozy slushies. So you could go to Hattie B's. Hattie B's. I'm typing it in the chat. Hattie B's. They're not from Atlanta. They're from Tennessee. But they have 2 locations here. And the guys that run it are awesome. Uriel says, a set of 4 for 30 euros makes it easier to just swap. Yep, it's true. Tinzilla Terrible says, get a hug from Teddy. He also says, could it be the seating of the C-clip and washer? Could you have done it wrong? Not really. They just kind of sit in there. They're either on or they're not. Like if you don't get them seated all the way down, they don't like if you don't get the washer seated all the way down, you won't be able to get the C-clip on. Let me take a look though. And I don't know how that would cause this level of vibration. Like this feels like something is really wrong in there. Arr. Yar. Yeah, I mean, they look like they're sitting perfectly flat. Let me try to pull on the motor bell a little bit. Yeah, see, the motor bell moves up and down the amount that it should. Oh, you know what, though? There's a bunch of wobble. There's a bunch of left to right wobble. What the hell is that about? Ooh, why is it like that? Yeah, something ain't right. I think the bushings might have failed in the stator. I've never really had that before, but there should not be this much wobble on the between the bell and the stator. Let me check this other one. Oh, well, this is I was going to say, this one has all the wobble in the world because this is the one that I loosened up. Let me retighten it to the frame. Hold on. Okay, let me see. Arr. This one's got some wobble too. Usually they don't move back and forth that much. That is odd. I'm guessing that the bushings got beat up, right? So we removed the C-clip and then we removed the motor shaft and bell. And so in here we've got a metal bushing and there's another one on the bottom. They must have gotten beat up. I've never seen that though. The Happy model bushings have never let go like that. They're always fine. You swap the bell and away you go. But yeah, there's a washer that sits in here, and that washer sits on top here. That one I made sure both of them had, and then so you put it down through there like that, and then you put another washer here, and then you put the C-clip, and you can see from the indentation, like, if the washer is not sitting totally flat, you won't be able to get the C-clip into that indentation. So just by the fact that I got it back together, I know that is all good to go, right? Like, if that washer on the bottom was sitting up too far, this C-clip wouldn't be able to go into that indentation in the motor bell. Like, these things either go back together or they don't. Once they're back together, like, everything is seated. But yeah, there's something in this stator that's not right. Or these two motor bells were bent. That is a possibility, but there's a little bit too much wobble here. I don't quite understand how there's so much. Let me look at the other two motors here that I didn't take apart. Let's see. Yarr. Oh yeah, that's the issue for sure. There's no wobble on this one. Yeah, okay. Something ain't right there. Or I guess the bells from these motors are different than the ones that Nyafu sent. Maybe Nyafu got like an early set of these motors, and the inner diameter of the motor shaft was a little bit different. But what's going on right now with the two motors that are on there is that when I hold the stator and I grab this top part, the whole motor bell is wobbling back and forth here. Well, look, on this model it does it. It's doing exactly this. And that should not be like that. It should be solid on there. You shouldn't be able to wobble it like that. So yeah, that's what's going on. Either there are multiple generations of these VCI motors and you can't mix and match them, or the bushings got banged up on these stators. Regardless, at this point, what I'm going to do is take these two new ones, cut the connectors off, and direct solder them. Potentially, that's what I should have done in the first place, but I've done a lot of these bell swaps successfully over the last couple of years, so I'll probably save these. What I should do is take these bells back off and mate them back up with these stators. I'll probably do that. Yeah, these motors look brand new. Damn, dude. Oh well. That's how it goes sometimes, man. Jesus. Oh, I mean, at least we're all in this shit show together, you know? Bob Knox is in the house. He says, what's up? Norfolk says, haven't watched from the beginning. What frame are you using? This is a Newbie Drone Cockroach 65 V3, my favorite frame for indoor flying. Ramalala says, Fallout is fun sci-fi season 1 on YouTube. Yeah, I'm all caught up on Fallout. We all watched that as a family. That was really good last year. Denzel Turbo says, think of doing a big 3D printed model of the Razorback soon. Nice. Very cool. Denzel says, Motor 2 sounds like a sickly goat. It does. Sir Lamo says, I swapped my motor screws out for some M1.4 by 2 millimeters because the 3 millimeter get too close to the bell. Yeah, I have those super short screws on my Etsy store if anybody needs them. The Cockroach frames come with it. The Light AF and the Cockroach V3 frame come with those ultra short screws, and I have tons of them. Denzel the Trouble says, greasy chicken and booze is just what they need for the swim meet. Nice. Denzel the Trouble says, is the shaft a different size, which would create play in there? It could be. It could be. Yep. These are both the V2 motors. They look absolutely identical. Let me just make sure there's not some weird marking. So the bells that I put on say 0702 Pro vertical slash and then light in all capitals. Where are the ones that I removed? Well, they're deep in the garbage can, but there's still 2 of them on here. Let's check the other 2. 0702 Pro vertical slash light in all capitals. So yeah, they certainly look to be identical. Same VCI logo. Yeah, but these other 2, they don't wobble all around like those. The hell, dude? Weird. See, so there's that one. There's that one. It's like solid. And then here's this one. Yeah, no, that's definitely the problem. It's wobbling all over the goddamn place. Yeah. And then here's one of the ones that hasn't been taken apart. Yeah, no, that's totally the problem. Very, very strange, man. Very weird. I can see the washer on top, so I know that's there. I can see the washer on bottom, and I can see the little C-clip. Strange. Safer to swap the whole motor. Safer not to pull these motors apart. But Tiny Whoop, Happy Model, Weebleed motors, I've done these bell swaps a lot. I've even like taken 1.5 millimeter motor shaft 0802 bells off of one motor and put them onto a different stator. I've done that a bunch of times actually to get a higher kV 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motor. So yeah, the bell swaps work absolutely fine on Weebleed, Tiny Whoop, Happy Model motors. Maybe it doesn't work on VCI motors. There's no reason that it shouldn't, but it didn't for the last hour and 15 minutes. Very weird. Roger with the last comment of the live stream, he says, did you ever try to bend the shafts back with a hand drill? There's some videos on it on YouTube. Not sure if it works, though. So long ago in FPV for me, we're going like 7 or 8 years back, when I built my first 5-inch rig and started hammering it into concrete. This is back when I was still unemployed. I spent a ton of time figuring out how to bend motor shafts back. And I figured out how I could find where the high point was, and then I would put them on the edge of the counter, and I would smack it with a hammer, and it would bend the motor shafts back. And I could get the motor shaft almost perfect. And then I would go out and fly it, and like the very first crash, it would bend it would just, because like the motor shaft is weak, right? Like when metal bends, it's now weakened in that direction. You bend it back, it makes it even worse. If you put any energy into it, it bends even worse. And so like, yeah, I would get another few batteries out of those motors. You're not shadow blocked. It's cool. I don't know how to shadow block. I don't think I would do it. I think it would be YouTube doing it, but yeah, no, we can see you. Yeah, it's it takes a lot of time. It's not something that's easy to do. It's kind of annoying, and then it's just gonna bend again. So it's not something that I ever did again. I spent like all this time doing it and left marks in the countertop, and then they didn't last. So yeah, once they get bent, just trash them. Actually, I think I might have missed a couple more chat comments. Let me scroll back up real quick. Uriel says, I only opened the box to check and made for the customs as used. Okay, so these are brand new motors, so they're not banged up. Uriel says you need a watchmaker set. There's also a press in it. Roger says they should start selling the bells with shafts separately. What's your take on trying to bend back? We just talked about that. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever see Tiny Whoop motor bells widely available because it's just so small and it is legitimately difficult to do. Weebleed has them, which is really cool. But like, yeah, I don't think you'll see it anywhere other than there, to be really honest. Yuke says Motor 2 is always my first to go. Yeah, me too. And those old Gemfan tri-blade 1.5 millimeter shaft are not that bad. I actually like them more than the bi-blades on the 40,000 kV motors. Interesting. I hated how heavy they were, but we're all unique. We're all snowflakes. Elias says, are the Happy Model SuperX and 2G4 still your favorite durable AIOs? Has it changed with any newer AIOs? The SuperX has never really been my favorite. The 2G4 certainly is. The brand new Betaflight AIO is super interesting, and it might be the go-to, but it needs a little bit more time. 2G4 is still the way to go for a durable AIO. The SuperX you can't even get anymore. They've replaced it with the CrazyG473, which seems to be pretty good, but again, it's still brand new. It's just not been around long enough. I'm really hoping that the new Betaflight AIO is durable, because it has black box and 12 amp FETs. And so, and they did, it seems like they did some pretty serious crash testing. So it might be the way to go, but it's just brand new. And there's potentially some weirdness with BlueJay that I'm bouncing back and forth with them on. They sent me a bind and fly, which has been totally fine. I didn't try to update it to BlueJay version 2.1. They sent me just an AIO, which on Whoop Wednesday I did this build with, and I seem to have bricked it by potentially, maybe it was just bad out of the box. Maybe when I tried to put BlueJay 0.21 on it, that bricked one of the ESC channels. I'm waiting on Betaflight to get back to me. They gave me a couple things to try. They didn't work. So yeah, I don't know. On their website, it specifically says to use BlueJay, to either just leave BlueJay 0.19.1, 96 kilohertz on it, or they give you a link on the product page to get 0.19.2. I went over that on on Friday's live stream. And if you do that, they seem to be totally fine. But yeah, I put BlueJay 0.21 on this. I tried to. And it caused all kinds of weird issues that we've not been able to sort out. So, other than that, hopefully it's good. Batted Drone says they changed a bunch with turtle mode on the new Betaflight. It'll even turn off after it has flipped the quad, so you don't cartwheel high power quads. I remember hearing that. Good call. Good call. Yeah, I don't like it. I like the old, more manual turtle mode. Cool. There we go. I thought I'd missed a couple chats. Uriel backing me up. Once it's bent, you'll never get them straight, and the metal is changed too. It got weaker. Denzel the Turbo says somebody did duty in the pool. On that note, I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. We did giveaways last week, so it'll be a regular old Monday night stream with Kevin Sumner, hopefully. See you then, friends. I'm going to go scream into a pillow and then do another hour of work on this fucking thing. Love you, bye! Here comes some more 2S analog 1.6-inch propping in the front yard. Oh, FPV. The full FPV experience today. See you guys later.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's, fur flies, and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin, all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. They zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a 2D smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sighties on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight.
fuss, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle Mike. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive, Teddy. Push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy's spaghetti, diamond and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy's spaghetti. Barking at the breeze, falling at top speed things, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Shotty and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPVs, fur-faced legends, legends singing loud. Yeah, Teddy spaghetti and CiottiFPV always proud.